Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stay Hungry podcast. Today we're talking about why AI should be afraid of us. Andy, seems like it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Definitely haven't done one on film for a bit.
God, yeah, oh shit, yeah, right.
About 18 months.
Right, breathe in, breathe in. Yeah, I was looking at the podcast notes there, kept thinking, who the fuck's Al? It's not, it's AI.
Yeah, I mean, I think your exact words were, you'll have to do all the talking about this one because I don't know fucking anything about AI. But that's not true.
I know a little bit about it. Obviously, there's a lot of fuss about chat GPT. Some people are embracing it. Other people are scared, which is usually what happens with anything new. Some people are worried about their jobs, and to be honest, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And
They should have been worried anyway.
even doctors, you know, if you can't get an in-person consultation, the next step they're talking about is obviously it's an AI doctor who you first chat to, and they work out what the next step is. And it's like, so if some GPs are shitting themselves, maybe us mere mortals should be as well.
So
is that not the case?
So obviously a GP is a specialist role, I'm not saying that. But I actually do think it's those roles in the middle. So not like the super consultant level and not the soldier on the ground. That's a polite way of saying shelf stacker. It's those middle tier jobs that are at the highest risk because they're the ones where a lot of it can be automated. And like GP should have seen it coming, for example, because X-rays and cancer scans and all sorts have been sent off for AI processing for a long time now. That's not new. Copywriters should have been worried because I think AI and copywriting has been around for about 5 years. It's only because it's free with ChatGPT that people have stood up and taken notice.
Maybe that is the big differentiator. Like you say, it's free, it's available to everyone. Funny enough, I'm just writing an email at the moment about freebies versus paid for stuff when it comes to events, whether that's in-person events or online events. And sometimes, obviously, you run a free event, of course, you're going to get lots of sign-ups as long as you're targeting the right people with the right message. But there's a massive difference between sign-ups and show-ups.
Yeah.
And so if you're running a free event, you're only going to get a certain percent of people who turn up, because some people, they see the word free, they're in already. And of course, Chat GPT, everyone wants a bit of that. Even my mum's talking about it, and my mum knows fuck all about Chat GPT.
On that note as well, it's the things that are free, variables cause more trouble for than if there's commitment.
Yeah.
So like an event, if it rains, which I think is in your email, and it was a free event, your show up rate will be dramatically more impacted than if it had been a paid event. Or if software is free and suddenly someone releases a ChatGPT detector, the chances of ChatGPT coming up with a workaround for that quickly is far diminished versus paid for software. Yeah. And I think that everyone instead seems to see opportunity as threat. And so, like in the marketing industry, for example, a lot of people saying, "Oh, are you worried about AI?" I'm not fucking worried about AI. Why would I be? AI is a long way off being able to know everything I know and the order to do it in order to get the result you need because of the nuances involved. Now, it will get there, and it will get there probably quicker than I realise, but when it does, I'll be the person driving it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some people out there who, to be honest, they just can't be asked to figure it out themselves. Now, ChatGPT is pretty intuitive to use, but you've got to know what to say to it. And there are people out there who will just say, I'd rather you did that for me.
Yeah.
And, you mark up the services. There's always opportunity. Of course, a lot of people don't like changes. So straight away, something new, their default position is curling up in a corner and being defensive about it. But I think there are some people, let's face it, there are some people who they know they're pretty shit at their jobs that maybe AI could impact more than others, and they're fucking hell. They're probably right to be scared.
The two people that I see moaning about AI in that sense, in the threat sense, are people that don't have jobs, as if it's stopping them from applying for jobs, because the jobs that they were never going to apply for no longer exist. I mean, that's probably the most controversial thing I've ever said on this podcast, but it's true. And people who are shit at their jobs. So people who like the idea of clocking in at 9, they probably clock in at 2 seconds to 9. They love clocking out at 5. Their productivity is just good enough that they don't get sacked, but not so good that they get promoted. And AI is a massive threat to them. But so was the internet, so was automation, so was the invention of the calculator. Like, these people, time and again, are the ones that suffer for progress. And I think business-wise, as a business owner, yeah, you can run scared, and there is no industry more than marketing that's been affected by this right now, or you can embrace it. And I'd rather embrace it and see what we can do.
It's not going away, so what can you do about it? Find out how it can impact your business, find out how it can impact you. For some people, hopefully, it could be the kick up the arse they need because they realise, shit, I haven't been learning. My knowledge about my industry is the same as it was 10 years ago. Well, fuck, I'd get onto that as a priority then. Which always baffles me anyway, why someone wouldn't want to learn to better themselves, to better their career, whatever it may be. And AI, it could be that kick up the arse, a shot in the arm they need. Because it's just a fucking tool. And like any tool, it can be used well and it can be used badly. So what sort of ways then that businesses you think can harness AI to make their marketing efforts better without just relying solely on it?
So examples I've seen or heard people say is, I asked it to write me a post and it was shit, that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I asked it to write me a post and it was pretty bloody good. There's a few things I had to tweak, but I was like, and professionally, I'd like to think I'm a better judge of what makes a good post than most. Sorry, these cables are making all sorts of noise over there. Let's see if we sort it out. There we go. So it's only as good as the information you give it. Now, let's say in the next year you need to post 20 Facebook posts on the topic of wheat-free dog food, something, I don't know. And so you could prompt it, write me 20 posts about the topic of wheat-free dog food, and it would churn out 20 posts. Or you could prompt it, imagine you are the world's leading dog food expert, and to top it off, more and more dogs are getting allergies all the time. As well as that, there is a real cost of living crisis in the UK, and people are struggling to afford fancy dog foods. Write me 20 posts about alternative dog food that is wheat-free, that's affordable for the layman on the street, and then see what it churns out. Now, that involved quite a bit of work.
Nice effort. Oh, Joel.
And involved you doing a little bit of creative thinking, but the output you get would be amazing for that. And when they properly hook it up to the internet and it can fully access the internet, it's going to be unbelievable. But it's only as good as the prompt you give it.
And that's why a lot of people be listening to that will straight away be thinking, fucking hell, that does indeed sound like a lot of work. And again, that's a barrier to entry. That'll stop perhaps some of the wrong people getting the results they want. They're just looking for the quick fix all the time. They think ChatGPT is the quick fix, but actually to get the best out of it, and then the other AI, you got to invest the time to know how to use it properly. And again, for some people that'd be too much. They think it'd be the cure for everything. Yeah,
and the more time you put in, the more you'll get out, and over time it will learn and get better and better, and it'll learn your voice and all these things. And there's been some incredible case uses of AI. For example, I keep seeing ones on TikTok now of songs sang by somebody else famous. So you could go and listen to Lovely Day by Bill Withers, sang by James Hetfield from Metallica, but it hasn't been sang by James Hetfield from Metallica. It's an AI that's been programmed in James Hetfield's voice to learn. Now, it's incredibly clever because in terms of if I taught AI my voice, I might never need to record a podcast ever again. But it would still need checks and balances. I can't just allow the AI to...
Some guys talk about that at the conference we went to, weren't they?
Well, yeah, because I think people see that as a threat too, that because of you could deep fake everything. But they can already do that. They've been able to do deep fakes for 5 or 6 years. So you sit there worrying about it, or crack on and use it in your business.
Yeah. That's where we lost interest in Enter Los Angeles. This whole deepfake plot surfaced where there was like AI mimicking the Chris O'Donnell character.
Yeah, Robin from Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it just got fucking stupid. It was like, what's coming next? A multiverse. Oh, mind you, though, what was a trailer we saw? Maddie and I went to Guardians of the Galaxy. Saw a multiverse trailer. Oh, fucking hell! The Flash.
Oh, that's had really good reviews.
Have you seen the trailer?
No. Well, I've seen the bit with Michael Keaton.
Yeah. So I was like,
oh, you didn't know?
No.
You've been under a rock.
Fucking DC in it. And I was like, and of course in the trailer he goes, "I'm Batman." It says that.
Yeah,
it's kind of line.
Iconic line.
And Maddie's like, "What's the matter?" I says, "He was Batman 30 years." Because of course Maddie's never seen that Batman. I said, "He was Batman like 30 years ago." And she's like, "Oh, what?" Then we got shushed. But I was like, "Fucking hell, that's amazing." You got shushed in the trailer, so that was a strict screening. I know, wanker. But yeah, so even the Flash TV series, we lost interest in that because it was going really, really well till about season 6, and then the whole multiverse thing happened, and they were like,
but you can't speak out against the multiverse when that is a very important arc of both DC and Marvel comics.
I know, and it's not one I like.
I don't think it translates to screen very well. That would be my...
No, when they had the 3 Spider-Men, I could cope with that, but like in the Flash TV series, there were like, at one point 18 versions of Earth or whatever. It's like, fucking hell, that's way too much. And also it's almost like, do you think maybe they've run out of ideas? And it's like, well, I'll tell you what then, let's have someone else play Spider-Man on another version of Earth. And it's like, oh fucking hell, here we go.
See,
Ask AI, come up with some better plot lines that don't involve multiverses.
Yeah, well, yeah, like film-wise, I prefer the kind of gritty version of comic book film. So I loved Blade. I like the Nolan Batmans. I like the most recent Batman.
Saw his Oppenheimer trailer as well.
Oh, that's meant to look.
That looked really good. Really good.
So that for me, that I prefer that. Like I love the Netflix Punisher series, that kind of thing. Like the grittier, kind of crazy, but in an actual comic book setting, the wackier the better. I think because it's quite weird anyway.
No.
Yeah, I'm not into the multiverse anyway.
I'm trying to think what DC film I've enjoyed.
Dark Knight, surely.
Okay, right, 3 Nolans aside, which just amazing.
You haven't seen the latest, the Batman, have you?
No, haven't seen that. Good. Haven't seen any. What the ones of Ben Affleck in? Haven't seen any of them.
All the Snyder ones.
Yeah.
You haven't seen any of them.
Is that Justice League?
Partly, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those.
And Superman.
I saw the Henry Cavill Superman.
Yeah, so that's the same.
How many's he done?
Snyder.
No, Henry Cavill.
So, whatever that was called, Man of Steel. Then they did Batman vs Superman.
What was the Brandon Ruth one then?
Superman Returns.
Oh, was it? Fucking hell, it seems like a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. You just showing your age. Kevin Spacey was Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah.
And he's cancelled now.
Is he still cancelled? Was he let off? No.
Well, he let off on one thing.
Oh, okay. Who else has been cancelled?
I don't know. We'll all be cancelled.
Everyone at some point.
I mean, what Kevin Spacey did, if he did it, is horrific. So, yes, I think that's a good reason to.
Do you think it'll get to the point you get cancelled for anything?
Who do you know, genuinely? Who do you know that's actually been cancelled?
Everyone for temporarily.
But no one, have they? Only people that make a noise about being cancelled have been cancelled. So.
Because someone else has been cancelled 5 minutes later, and so the other person gets let off a bit.
Not a real thing, though, is it? Other than Kevin Spacey, who...
I think for them, in terms
Harvey Weinstein or whatever.
Not their career being cancelled, but certainly losing out financially on jobs, that's very real.
The Rock is the latest.
What? Cancelled for what?
Being a dick.
What's he done?
Well, he tried to take over the DC universe, cocked it all up, made a horrendous film, and now no one wants anything to do with it.
Right, so this Black Adam or whatever?
Yeah. And everyone said it was a nightmare to deal with.
Well, I just thought he was just agreed to be a lead in a film and didn't do very well, and that was it.
No, he's been like demanding to have a face-off with Superman when his character's meant to face off with Shazam and all sorts. They were like, right, saying he cancelled.
Oh, you mean so Warner Brothers said, yeah, you don't you in the DC?
He's got Henry Cavill sacked. They've rebooted everything now.
Oh, I thought he said he wanted Henry Cavill to play Superman.
No, he's in Black Adam, Henry Cavill.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I
didn't know that. So worth seeing then?
Don't know, I haven't seen it. It's cancelled, isn't it?
Fucking hell.
No, but on a serious note, I don't know how we've got to this, but...
AI's going to cancel you now. They will set an algorithm. Anyone who says this, cancel.
I don't think anyone's been cancelled that I can think of, other than people who've done abhorrent things. I think some people have said they've been cancelled, which has actually got them more attention.
Maybe it just sells a few newspapers. I think there are some people out there who say one wrong thing, or they said one wrong thing 50 years ago, and they get heat.
That happened to Kevin Hart, actually, didn't it? He said, it was homophobic tweets, and he got cancelled from hosting the Oscars. That's a thing that happened. And then people said, should someone be cancelled for something they've already apologised for? And I think...
Ricky Gervais definitely says no.
My personal opinion on that is the Oscars should have done their bloody homework better. If they don't want the controversy of...
And everyone makes a mistake.
Yeah, but if they for whatever reason...
There are levels of mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. But if they don't want the controversy of someone who's said something controversial in the past hosting their awards, do your research. It's not hard. But if you've then appointed them and then you're cancelling them for something they've apologised for, that the world's forgiven them for too. It's not like he's...
It's difficult because we know, what's the quote? I mean, it's an old quote about bloody intelligent people are so full of self-doubt, but the stupid people, they're the really loud ones, all that kind of thing. And there's a lot of people with great opinions to share. They're so scared they might say something wrong. It's just easier not to say anything.
Yeah.
But a lot of stupid people out there, they got no qualms about being loud and stuff, and then that's how some white people say elections get won. But
well, yeah, absolutely, because I guess the stupid people have got nothing to lose, or they don't worry about it enough.
We should do a podcast about that.
Being stupid, we'll be good at that.
Cancel culture, is it real? Discuss.
I just think it's bollocks.
I mean, I remember so David Baddiel, pretty right on, obviously author, podcaster, actor, probably a director as well. And then it resurfaced some of his fancy football stuff he used to do back in the day with...
like when they did
blackface. Yeah, Frank Skinner, that's it, yeah.
But they did blackface, and they also did like the girls wearing very little clothes, didn't they, on the sofa?
Oh, I can't remember. It was never my cup of tea, so...
you don't get on with him anyway, though.
Rumour has it. Yeah, not my cup of tea. And
here's my rumour. I've heard he's an absolute wanker.
Oh, well, there we go. But I vaguely remember it at the time, the whole blackface thing. But I also vaguely remember people not being that fussed about it.
Well, like Little Britain. I'm not saying it's right.
That was massive at the time, but now everyone's like, "Oh, I never liked it at the time." It's like, well, I'm pretty sure the TV viewing
whole
figures.
Country bloody stopped.
Yeah, 50 million people used to watch it.
Yeah,
and now it's all like, oh, they had a character called Ping Pong, and they had they were laughing at poor people and disabled people, and it's like, well, that was wrong back then.
Yeah, like Bo Selector. Bo Selector, we all knew it was wrong.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
but we're just living in very different times, and you do have to adjust. I get that. But I'd like the Roald Dahl thing, rewriting Roald Dahl books for today's standards.
Agatha Christie. Someone else's. Oh, so one of my childhood favourites were P.G. Woodhouse. The Jeeves and Wooster? That's the same thing with them now.
Really?
Yeah. The publisher is rewriting certain things.
You can't whitewash history, because then history repeats itself.
Yeah, and every generation thinks it's better than the last. Always has been.
Yeah,
the next generation will think that the people who believe they're doing the right thing now were archaic. So when older, won't mention names, but certain older people will say to me stuff about how things used to be better in the old days and stuff. And I was like, oh, do you mean like when gay people got chemically castrated, or when women couldn't vote, or when I'd get beaten up to the colour of my skin? Those good old days, you mean? Oh no, you're just being silly. And it's like, yeah, it's just nostalgia, isn't it? Ain't what it used to be.
And it's hard, isn't it? Because when you're no longer the current generation, which applies to both of us, you sort of remember some of the old days with fondness, and like you say, the horrible shit you block out. But that's not what we like.
How the hell did we get onto this? So it's talking about AI.
It's really interesting.
Start with multiverse, I think.
But like Roald Dahl, for example, if you edit everything he said to make it softer for today's audience, you're taking away what it was, whether or not you agree with it. But part of parenting, if you're reading your kids a story, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what it does say in there, but let's say it's like, and Dad went out to work to earn the money so that Mum could cook the dinner, which would be an old-fashioned stereotype.
Tiger came to tea. That's the same. You know, woman's there, the wife's there making food for dad, who comes back after a hard day's work and put it on the table.
Well, it wasn't.
As a parent, surely you could don't worry, there's no tigers coming to tea. But the second bit is, that's how people used to live. That in a lot of households up until the early 80s, the father went out to work and the mum looked after the house. That isn't how we live today, but that's how people used to live. Don't rewrite it.
I know, I'm trying to think what would happen next, really. I mean, Roald Dahl, massive part of my childhood. Enid Blyton.
What was your favourite?
Big Roald Dahl.
Yeah.
James the Giant Peach.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
That's why, because we were talking about dystopian stuff, it's sort of like that thought of that escapism. I've always loved like films, TV, books like that, like Logan's Run, getting away from something that isn't as good as you want it to be. And James the Giant Peach, obviously getting away from, who were those two? Was it Two Horrible Aunts, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And flying away. So I love that one. Love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Love the film. But Enid Blyton is a big one for me, and I'm sure she's having stuff rewritten because.
So that's the famous five, isn't it?
Yeah, she recently wasn't allowed on a stamp because I think she had obviously racist views, like I'm sure a lot of people did in those days.
Noddy's best mate was Big Ears. Couldn't say that now, could you?
Couldn't say that now.
And why was such a young little elf pixie man hanging out with such an old guy? That's weird too.
But then even we were talking in the office the other day about Lord of the Flies, and the overweight kid, it was called Piggy, wasn't he? And that stuff like that wouldn't happen now. Or I used to love the Beano, the Backstreet Kids. There was Fatty. Remember him?
Yeah.
Overweight. That would happen now.
But and Pie Face. So, but there's a. Yeah, well, we could go down the whole route of getting
Are we more enlightened now? I think I knew that you couldn't call people fatty when I read those books. Yeah, see, I didn't. Not in the 70s. If you wrote and to be honest, in the 70s, a lot fewer people were overweight.
Yeah.
So
genuinely, there was less money around to buy food.
If you were overweight, you're in the minority, and chances are you'd get picked on and called names. And it was wrong, but that's the way it was. Just like if you were ginger, or in my case, Asian. And
Welsh.
And it's fucking got more shit for being Welsh. And it's one of those things that I guess you just fucking accepted, which is really weird looking back at it now. But then I'll explain to my kids how, I got into racist sort of trouble when I was younger, and they can't get their heads around it. Why? Why? Because the colour of your skin, and why would somebody who's struggling with their weight get rid of it? And some of that, that's just how it was. I'm afraid. And now,
what do you mean? Your kids pick on people for having big feet.
Yeah, that's funny though. Big feet, Joel. Although Maddie now, she shuts up a bit about big feet now. I think she's size 8 or something. She's got big feet.
For a girl, that's big feet. Yeah.
So she borrows Emma's Jordans quite a lot now, which is annoying.
Poor Emma.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I think we could do a whole podcast about this because I do believe, obviously, a lot of things are much better now than they used to be, without a doubt. But there's also a lot of great knowledge want to be shared out there, but the people
are too scared.
Yeah, the people are too scared because so you said a word earlier. I've said loads of words earlier today. What did I say? I said something to the girls here about manning the phone. You said layman earlier. There are people out there. That will just be enough for them if they're a bit bored to think I'm gonna latch on to that, and I'm gonna do a tweet that Andy talked about manning the phones. When did he think he was born? In the 70s?
Well, see, yes. But you can make such an argument about that. I'm not a woman, and I understand this is touchy territory, and actually, that's not what I'm trying to say here. But at what point does manning the phones is not a luxury job? It's not something people look forward to doing. So if we're personing the phones,
no one calls now anyway.
Well, yeah, but if we're personing the phones or whatever we're meant to say, when Neil Armstrong stood on the moon, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. He didn't mean man. It was just semantics.
Star Trek changed the opening monologue years ago, because in the Kirk days it was when no man has gone before. then when Captain Picard came in, the Next Generation, it was where no one has gone before. But it's like, were they wrong back in the 60s? By our standards, of course we'd say yes, but back then it was just, you said small step for a man.
But it was a collective term.
Human. Like man in the phones, like that. But there will be HR handbooks out there that would say that kind of language.
Yeah.
We were told about, what was that client said about he was told off by some HR person for using the word staff. It should be team. Staff is too aggressive and it's not inclusive enough.
Obviously, this is the Stay Hungry podcast,
and we're talking about AI.
And I'm pretty right on in general.
You are,
but
in a good way.
In this case, I would say if that's what you're sat there worrying about, you haven't got enough shit to do, and I don't mean that in a horrible sense. I think we should all be aware of our language, and we should all try harder to be better people. But if you say, "Oh, I'm just going to go check in on the staff," and someone turns around to you and says, "Do you mean team?" Tell them to fuck off. Because we haven't got time, like in our world. Much like, I think, a lot of this comes from the whole idea of giving people trophies for coming last. Oh, we don't want to upset the person that came last. Well, I'm sorry, but when you step out of school or playgroup or whatever it is, the world's fucking hard. And if we keep teaching people that there's not going to be anyone that says things wrong, there's not going to be anyone that disagrees with them, there's going to be a prize for whatever place you come, no wonder AI is going to fucking beat us.
Maddie came first in the discus competition last week.
Did she not get a medal because first place gets enough already?
It's weird considering she's never thrown a discus before, I don't think, and there was some quite...
She's got size 8 feet, I imagine she's got 11 arm on her.
Some quite strong looking ladies in that competition. So she was really chuffed. But it's funny actually, because she was saying about some of these women compete who are quite big, and I was saying, so there was one lady who was really big, and she had all the gear.
Why had Maddie been made to do discus if she'd never done it before?
Fuck knows.
Because discus and javelin and shot put at school. Our school were like they were the ones like, oh, you're not good at anything else, you do that.
Yeah. Holly's doing the shot put, and she's tiny. Anyway, there's this one girl who's big, like muscly, strong, and she had all the gear, top to toe, Gymshark, that kind of stuff. And so Maddie straight away wobbled. And so I talked to her about that judo competition where I lost because the guy beat me before I stepped on the mat because he looked the business. I said, it doesn't matter that she has Gymshark or that she looked... That's irrelevant. She might be good, but she might be shit. But don't let her beat you in the head first. And that's something that's like, those little father-son chats. I think, well, sometimes I do have something wise to share in between all the bullshit. But I think
she's your daughter, but...
But like, we face that. A lot of people talk about imposter syndrome and self-doubt and stuff. A lot of it's worrying about your preconception of someone. Maybe there's a lot of ignorance about AI. See what I did there? Brought us back on subject. Yeah. Your preconception, you have fear about something you don't fully understand. Just like you had fear of an opponent because they sound cooler than you, dress better than you, look the business. You think, oh my God, I'm fearful of that person. Where if you think about it logically, you haven't done your due diligence to make that decision. So if you're fearful about AI, whatever it might be, have you done your research first to know, is it going to affect you? And if so, how? And then what can you fucking do about it?
Yeah, and as it stands...
There we go. I think that was only a 35-minute
tangent, yeah. But like, as it stands with AI, yes, it probably can do what you're meant to do quicker than you, but it can't do the nuance that you can do. So if you fall into that bracket of like mid-tier job that's under threat from AI, really, really, really lean into those nuances of like, let's say you do creative copywriting for brands that are heavily led by their story.
Sounds wanky, but true. Yeah.
Then, you've thrown it. But then AI is not going to be able to do that because AI is not going to have the capacity to understand every single personality in your business and pull that together like you can.
So I was watching a quick Stephen Bartlett clip someone posted on LinkedIn the other day, and he was talking about working from home and working in the office, and he's a big proponent, for what I can make out in this video anyway, of for certain businesses working collectively, working together in an office because of creativity and innovation. And the important thing is obviously you make that clear to your team. This is our culture. This is why we work from home, or this is why we work in the office, so they know. So there's no grey area. But I think if you want to be innovative, if you need genuine connections and creativity in your business, AI can't really do that. Is that a nuance?
I think so. I mean, it will be able to do that, and it will get better at doing that. But it will never be a human.
That's a whole other tangent, isn't it? Work from home.
Yeah, well, I guess like that's the thing. Like that's where it'll get interesting. Is let's say in 10 years' time we're all wearing AR glasses or whatever it'll be, because it's coming. We all know it's coming. AI won't be a separate thing to us. It would be like having a bionic arm. It'll be like you feed the idea into the AI, and the AI goes away and makes it better, brings it back, and then you finish it off. As opposed to this whole thing of it feeling very separate at the moment.
So it's funny, Chris Evans, the DJ, not the actor, was talking about this morning. Emma told me when I rang her in the car, saying about how because of technology and AI, there's a lot of people out there who can do their 5-day job in 3 days. So he's trying to say that a lot of people out there do have an argument for getting paid the same because they provide the same result, but they should only work, say, 4 days a week or whatever.
I remember they show a clip from it all the time, Tomorrow's World, from the 60s and 70s. And,
that's classic.
And they're basically saying, come the year 2000, everyone will work a 2-day week and we'll have a 5-day weekend. But what's actually happened is productivity's massively gone up since then. But all we do is work more. And obviously that's created this massive rich-poor gap and profits and yada, yada, yada. But the same will happen with AI. There's no way. Chris Evans is right. That's what should happen. Is as long as we produce the same amount, everyone should get paid. But that's not what will happen. Is that everyone will be expected to produce more because they've been given better tools. And
the reality is, there are some competing industries and countries out there, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. In fact, it's probably wrong, who are working much more than we are.
Yeah.
And if you're in a business working 40 hours a week, but someone can get the same service or result that you provide elsewhere, where people are working 80 hours a week for you and charging less, you've got some thinking to do, and that's the reality of it.
Yeah, that's a bigger threat.
Yeah.
There's emerging economies that are willing to harness AI at the same time.
I mean, I'm trying to think now. I don't think we outsource anything abroad. I'm certainly not saying it's wrong, but there's lots of people who do. It's like, right, I want this result, and I can pay 20 quid an hour to get it done here in the UK, or I can pay 5 quid an hour to get it done in the Philippines. And to be honest, I can send the brief in the evening, wake up in the morning, come to the office, and the work's been done because of the time difference.
I think
that's quite a sexy sell.
The only things I can think we've ever done it with is data analysis, where you just send it off and then it comes back a couple of days later and they've done the data analysis.
I thought you did all that.
Well, I like you to think I have.
You just give it to AI, don't you?
Just give it to my mate in the Philippines.
Yeah, sort this out for Andy. He won't know the difference anyway.
Yeah, create a spreadsheet for Andy. Tell him.
Fucking hell! Have you gone through your spreadsheet from the webinar? Has it yielded good data? I was thinking about that on the dog walk this morning. I don't know why.
It's told me some things I needed to know. Yeah.
Okay.
Whether that's good data or not. I mean, yeah, it is good data, but not the data I was looking to get.
Right. Okay.
As in, do our sales team bother to fill in a spreadsheet the further along the project we get? And if the answer to that is no, should they be our sales team?
Okay. Well, maybe we're going to hand that over to AI then. So what about risks? We talked about opportunity a lot.
Yeah.
What are the risks with it? And I suppose risk, we've talked about inputting the wrong commands, for want of a better phrase.
A recent example of when a tool became available to the masses is Canva. So it's not AI, but just the same's happening with AI.
Worth $40 billion.
Yeah, and the big risk, and we saw it with Canva, and we'll see it again, and we saw it when digital cameras became a widespread thing, is mediocrity became accepted. That it's like, well, that looks good. How did you do that? And it's like, does that look good by professional standards, or does that look good by run-of-the-mill standards? And we saw, when Canva came out, we saw a lot of shit graphics on social media. And with AI, what we'll see is a lot of shit copywriting, a lot of shit automations, a lot of shit web code, a lot of shit fake images. And it takes a professional to be able to tell everyone it's shit, which then the argument is, well, is it actually shit then? And that's when you get into data. That's where I come in, where it's like, well, that landing page that's been professionally done converts at 32%. That landing page that looks all right according to you lot and has been done by AI converts at 29% across £1 million.
That's the reality, isn't it? Because what does the customer want to do? Yeah. If they want to press that button or don't, those are the kind of numbers you need to know.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, in terms of risks to us, for micro businesses, that won't matter because that 3% could be 50 quid. So use the AI, save yourself the money.
Bloody hell. And where's the future of AI? How can I mean, obviously one of the team's jobs is always to keep ahead of the curve for our clients. So whether that's Facebook ads, knowing what kind of ads work the best, knowing what kind of copy works the best, following the trends, or rather predicting them. So again, keeping ahead of the curve. When it comes to AI, where's it going?
I think everything's going to become augmented, like we were saying before.
Like the Borg?
Yeah, basically like the Borg, yeah.
Holy shit. Season 3 of Picard, and third and final season, right, where basically the next generation cast reunite and the Borg play a part in it. Oh, it's amazing. They go back onto the original Enterprise from the 1980s, yeah, when the program first came out. All 7 of the main bridge crew back on the next generation. Oh, fucking hell. I almost cried. I didn't, obviously.
I mean, that sounds really exciting for you.
I was trying to explain to Emma, and she had the same bored look in the face that you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it was.
Imagine 7 amazing people standing where they used to stand. That's what I just heard.
You get excited about a spreadsheet, but don't get excited about that.
You said something about the Borg. Who's that? Bjorn Borg, a tennis player.
Right, go back to augmentation or whatever it is you're fucking droning on about.
Yeah, I basically think everyone's thinking of all these things as separate, and soon it's all going to be one and the same. That we're going to be living in some sort of hybrid world where virtual, artificial, and reality merge into one, and this argument will be defunct. It'll be like, write me a blog, and it'll be written.
In 50 years' time, will there be offices?
I think we're going to get to a place where surely there's going to be a lot of research in the next few years about how important it is to actually physically socialise, how important it is to be in the same place as other humans, and what like the metaphysical effects on you are and all this kind of stuff. Because otherwise we're all going to be in pods with like treadmills in the bottom, wearing VR glasses and never see anyone.
You've got a generation like that now.
Oh yeah.
Lockdown kids, all that kind of stuff that a lot of people they don't want to socialise. I saw a meme today, another Baby Yoda one, and it was like, you know, why do you want to go out? Why don't you ever leave the house? And Baby Yoda saying, because all my stuff's there and I hate people. And it's like, shit, I know a lot of people like that.
You're a bit like that.
Yeah, I suppose so. But it's quite true. Yeah, all my stuff, and the people I love, they're there. I'm less inclined to go out now than I was before. I could quite easily work from home. My wife would probably disagree with me. But
well, you've been told about that from a few people, haven't you?
Yeah, but I know the results will be the same, and as you know, results trump everything. But there's a lot of people out there, and that's why it's a hard argument to come back to this work from home thing. That in the mass media, it's almost like if you're an employer and don't let your team work from home, you're a bastard. And that, if you went on LinkedIn, which is, you know, a bit of a cesspit at the moment, has been for a while, you'd think that, like, you know, any boss that made their team come into work 4 or 5 days a week, and didn't let them have their birthdays off, and I don't know.
Genuinely, a big consideration in our office around the office culture and having an office space and a central hub, apart from productivity, creativity, is the mental health of the team. I genuinely saw how hard it was for them during COVID to like have no sense of purpose, no sense of structure, to have to listen to noise in the background and the neighbours and deliveries come in and all this shit. And I do feel like we have a moral obligation to show them that there's a bit more to life than that. That obviously if they get into their 40s and 50s and decide to go self-employed and work from home and they enjoy that, that's up to them. But I really do. It really does scare me, the idea. Like, you know, I like my own company and I can sit and work at home, whether I should. And I agree with you, the result's probably the same because I'm very purpose driven, so I'll get to the result. Whether I should is...
I wonder if that bubble will burst.
What did Ian Malcolm say? You were so busy wondering if you could, you stopped to think if you should.
At Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
God, we have gone deep today, haven't we?
It's good that, wasn't it? What do people need to do if they want to go off on a rant with us about giving trophies to 9th place losers, or talk about AI or marketing?
If they want to learn more about practical marketing and mindset to moving forward, you mean?
Oh, that was it, yeah.
Book a strategy session, or rather apply for one. Simply visit codebreak.co.uk and get that chat in.
You've been listening to the Stay Hungry podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share, leave us a review. I'll love you forever. Visit andyandjoel.com if you want to know more about our coaching. We'd love to hear from you. Take care, everyone.